Hey everybody, I hopped on just a minute early because I want to test my sound because I'm doing a lapel mic, but I want to make sure that it works. So while I'm waiting on, and it works. So hey everyone, I hope you're doing great today, whether you are able to jump on and catch this live or if you're watching the replay. I hope you are doing great. What I'm going to talk about today is whether you should invest your time and money in a design tool, or if you should just stick with a free option, because there is a really great free option too. I'm going to go ahead and share this in my group really quickly. And let's see, this always takes me a second. All right. So I am Danielle, and my main goal is to help you look great online and save you time so you can get back to sharing your message and your services and feel really confident about it. So before we dive in, I want to know, and yeah, I have notes. Before we dive in, I want to know a little bit about you. So even if you're watching this on the replay, just tell me that you caught the replay, but I want to know about your business and what you do and what you're, just a little bit in as few words as you can, what your business is about. Go ahead and post that up in the comments below. And before we really dive in, I just want to give you this little caveat that there are really so many free and paid design tools. There's really a lot of these online free tools that have, a membership as well. And I was tempted to do a lot of research and come up with a list of all of them. But since my goal is to help you save time when creating designs, I decided that would be a disservice to you, because if you're like me and many other entrepreneurs, hi Kim, Pilates teacher and studio owner. That is awesome, Kim. I would love to hear about what type of graphics you're creating or need to create. But anyway, so what I was saying is, it would be a disservice to come up with this whole list of all the tools available, because if you're like me and lots of other entrepreneurs, shiny object syndrome is a real thing and a real problem. And I get distracted by things and checking out new things, even though the thing I have is working fine. So I decided to just stick with the tools that I know and use and that I think would be beneficial for you, instead of just gathering a bunch of tools when I don't even use all them. The second thing I want to tell you is, I'm not going to get on here and just tell you that you need to go invest in Adobe programs. You might, and I personally use Adobe for most of my things, but you know what? You may not need that. I also love Canva, and Canva has a great free option and paid option. So while I'm on the subject, let's just start talking about the tools I use and the options that I think are great, valuable design tools for you and your online business. So like we already mentioned, Canva. Canva has a great free option. You can do most things with the free option. And I think, unless the price has gone up, it's $10 a month for Canva for work, and it comes with more organizational features, and you can upload your own fonts and some other things. We'll get into that at a different time. And then let's see, let me make sure I covered. Okay, so and what you can do in Canva, you can create your blog and social media graphics. You can, create printables. Canva is not my go-to tool for creating printables, but you definitely can. You can create opt-ins and PDFs and things like that, and printable things, and you can go on Canva and see all of their pre-sized templates they have. You can set your own custom sizes. So Canva is a great option. And then, of course, you have your big Adobe 3, which is Photoshop, InDesign, and Illustrator. I use all of those almost daily, at least weekly, but I'm in at least one of them daily. Photoshop, obviously, it's, you use photos for it, but you can also do your blog and social media graphics, your pins, things like that. And I do make those for myself in Photoshop. And you can edit photos heavily. You can cut things out, which I have done to cut things out for the Canva kit that I have. Let's see, where are we at? Okay, InDesign. InDesign is my go-to tool for printables. I think it's great if you create a lot of printables or things that have multiple pages. It's so much easier to keep up with them and keep them organized and move them around if you need to. And InDesign's great for calendars, planners, worksheets, basically anything printable. And the last one, and probably the most complicated of the Adobe design tools, is Illustrator. And it's really more for creating graphics, like logos and vectors. What I use it for is sometimes I may be creating like a custom shape, and I create it there in Illustrator and then pull it into my PDF or whatever I'm creating in InDesign. I also use it to scan in hand-drawn doodles and turn those into vectors and things like that. Later this week, starting tomorrow, I'm going to jump in each one of those in more detail and compare them with Canva, because Canva is like my one and only free option tool that I use. And then I'm going to compare these paid tools to Canva so you get a better idea of what you might need. But let's go over some scenarios right now. So what you need is really going to depend on your business and your goals. So if you're watching this live or on the replay, go ahead and share those if you want to in the comments, and I would love to check those out. First of all, the first question is, do you even really like creating graphics for yourself? Do you like creating your social media images? If you do not, I would have it on your goal, even if you can't do it right now, is to eventually outsource it one day. And if that's something that is down the road for you, I would definitely stick with the free option of Canva while you're having to DIY it right now, which I totally get. I mean, I have things that I eventually want to outsource in my business, but right now it's just better to keep it in-house. If you do love designing your graphics and you're mainly creating blog and social media graphics, then stick with Canva. You can easily do all of those, and it may just be a thing where Photoshop is going to overcomplicate it, which I have a tendency to overcomplicate a lot of things. And for mom entrepreneurs, time can be very limited. So the less we can complicate things, the better. And if you want to learn more about creating those things in Canva, I have a free Canva course, katedanielle.com/Canva. I'll link up to that later if you haven't checked it out. If you like designing your graphics yourself, but you haven't been quite happy with them, I would tell you the same thing. One, go check out the Canva course. Because it may just be what you need to get to where you want to be. Also make sure you check out the lives where I'm going to compare each tool, because you can do more with the Adobe programs. You can get fancier, more polished, more professional, do a little bit more creative things. And when I compare them side to side, we'll talk about those, and it will give you an idea of if you eventually do want to invest in an Adobe program to get to designs that may suit you better. If you want to offer design as a service, either as a graphic designer or a VA, you may want to consider investing your time and money into some of the Adobe programs. And it will depend on what kind of service you want to offer, if you need Photoshop or if you need to get the whole suite. Because I did forget to say, with the Adobe programs, you can subscribe to them individually, or you can get the Creative Suite. And Photoshop you can get for $10 a month, unless it has gone up, which it may have, but not by much. And I believe all the other ones are like around $20 a month. Or you can get the whole suite, which comes with tons of programs, and it went up $3. So I think it's about $53 a month, which is what I have. So I don't know if Photoshop went up or not. So Photoshop, if you just need to be creating things with images and blog graphics and JPEGs and PNGs, Photoshop is great, and you can get it for around $10 a month. Okay, but if you want to, so we're on, if you want to offer it as a service. If you want to be a VA who designs some social media graphics, I mean, you can do those in Canva, but to be more polished, you may want to invest in Adobe. But I'm going to be blunt. If you want to offer services as a graphic designer, you need to start learning and investing in Adobe programs, in my opinion. Those are the professional, top-notch graphic design programs. And one that I love to talk about is if you want to create and sell digital products. And this one gets a little tricky, because if you just want to offer like a one-off product, it's not something that is the main part of your business. Maybe like I've made ebooks for clients that lead into their bigger program. You create it in Canva if you're going to do it yourself, and because you really have to weigh the time it's going to take to learn these bigger programs. And if it's not something that you're going to do all the time, Canva is going to be the fastest and easiest to learn. It's not perfect by any means. It has glitches, but so do all programs, you know. But however, if creating digital products is going to be the main part of your business, then I think it is worth your time and money to eventually get the Adobe suite. But it's also going to depend on what you're creating, because you may be creating templates that are program specific. So for example, I have made slide templates for a client in Google Slides. So obviously it had to be in that. But also I have Canva templates, and while those are finished in Canva, I use my Adobe programs to make the elements for that. So for example, I'm actually coming out with a new, better version of it next month. And it's going to have stock photos, which I use Lightroom for those, which is totally only for photography, editing photos. So that's why I didn't mention it, because it's not a design program, but you get it in the suite. I think you even get it with the Photoshop subscription. I use Photoshop to cut things out of the photos to make them, you know, to make it just be a pin that you can drag and drop in Canva. The new one's going to have hand-drawn doodles, so I used Illustrator to turn those into vector graphics. And then I also, which I think I have some, the new one's going to have custom watercolors. So I scanned these in and edited these in Photoshop to cut them out. and turn them into little watercolor graphics. So I used 3 different Adobe programs to build this kit that I then turn into templates inside of Canva. So even though they're Canva specific templates, still I used my other programs to build that, if that makes sense. That's just something to think about. You know, you may be making PowerPoint templates, if people still use PowerPoint, or you may be making some kind of Word document template. So obviously those would need to be in the program the person's going to use it in. So with all of that said, it doesn't mean that some of the things I do in Adobe, you can't do in Canva. Like, for example, the block graphics. Some of the things you can't do in Canva. You can't cut things out like I do in Photoshop. And there may be some tool online that you can do that with. And I say that because I totally understand that at some points in your business, you just have to use what you have access to. And so, you know, it may be that you stick with Canva now and invest in something down the road. And that could be for money or time reasons. For example, since I am a subscriber to the Adobe Creative Cloud Suite, I have Premiere Pro, which is their video editing platform. Not my strong suit. And I put off using that program for so long because I didn't have the time in that moment to learn it. So I stuck with what I knew until I could take a few minutes, watch some videos, and learn the basics. And that's what you have to do with any Adobe program, is start with the basics, and then you will build on from there. As you see something that somebody else is doing, you can Google, how do you do this, and start building on to the tools that you use in Adobe, because they're so vast. And I mean, I have been using them for years, and I know there are so many things that I don't use. So it really just depends on your personal preferences, what you're doing, and how you use them. So I would love to know where you think you fall on the spectrum. Are you Canva all the way? Do you feel like it meets all your needs? Or do you think that you need to start thinking about something else? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you already have these programs and you're just confused about them. Because like I said, I do have the free Canva course. I have a free Getting Started with InDesign guide, and I have Photoshop stuff coming. But the more feedback I get will determine, you know, what comes out next and what I provide more of. I will be talking a lot about Canva over the next month because I am getting ready to launch the new kit. And that is all I have today. So, like I said, let me know in the comments, because I want to help you look great online. I want to help you look great online in less time so you can get back to sharing your message and your services. Now, what I have coming up next, hang on, let me grab my sheet. Yeah, I'm back. Okay, tomorrow I will be live at 11 tomorrow, and we will be deep diving into Photoshop matched up against Canva. And then next week on Monday, we will be doing InDesign matched up against Canva. And then I may just tack Illustrator onto the end of that one, because Illustrator just really is so different than any of them. I mean, it is similar into some of the Adobe things because they all work. I use all 3 of those interchangeably. Not interchangeably, together. You know, like I said, I make something in Illustrator to pull into Photoshop or InDesign. So there's not a whole lot of overlap with Illustrator and Canva, I guess, is what I'm getting at. And then later on, I will be talking about the differences between Canva and Canva for work. And then I'll be happy to answer any questions you have about any of this and what you feel like would best meet the needs for your business and your designs. And with that, I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? And it's time for you to think like a boss and play like a mom. I totally just messed up my tagline there. Time for you to go think like a boss and play like a mom. I wanted to flip the words because, come on, if you're as a mom, we're always thinking like a mom. But my goal is for you to have more time to play like a mom while thinking like a boss. Anyways, you guys have a great day, and I will be coming back to check out the comments. See ya!